If you would like to purchase a pre-printed fabric panel, please go to spoonflower.com and type Kathy Schmitz in the search bar without any spaces. You can also hold your phone's camera over the QR code and a small yellow tab will pop up. Click on the tab and it will take you to my Spoonflower shop. Please order a fat quarter on Petal Signature Cotton. Thanks! April is here. We have little bunnies, we have tulips, all the fun things that come up. Maybe not tulips yet. Daffodils? Yeah, daffodils first. And crocus. Love seeing all those new things sprout up in the spring. So we have a little running bunny who's jumping over some flowers down here. So the first thing I'm going to show you is his pants and his little tail. So we're doing a stem stitch again. Very small stitches. I like about a 1/16. I think the most important thing is to keep them uniform. So now here's where I would turn a corner. So I have a nice sharp corner going around that cutout for his tail. He has a little cutout in his pants. But I'm just going to skip down a tiny bit and do his tail. Show you that. These are going to be fly stitches, super easy. So we're going to start at the base of the tail. And then if you follow that little loop up, it ends here. So that's where I'm going to put my needle down, put my needle up at the tip of that fluff, and my thread goes under the needle. And then I tack it on the other side. And then you just repeat that with the next one. So I'm going to start at one end of that curve, go down at the other end of that curve, up at the tip top, and tack it in place. That is a very, very quick way to make a fluffy tail. Whoop. And I almost unthreaded my thread. There we go. Without too much work. Yeah. So these fly stitches, I love using them for different things. That if I just need just a little bit of a curve, like in January in the snowman's hands, the little mini snowman. And then we go to the last one. Boop. And see, this is the way my brain works too. I think, okay, so now my thread is down there. So I need to start up here, right? But instead of carrying my thread over there, gosh darn it, sorry, I don't mean to keep hitting that. I'm going to do this dashed line because I've already thought ahead. If I dash down that way and then dash this way, then I'm going to be right there. So a running stitch. These dashes are running stitches. These are a little bigger than the other ones we've done in the previous month, so they're a little bit easier. So I'm still going to do one at a time. I don't want to pull and pucker my stitches. That one has a tiny gap. There we go, made it. And then I can just run stitch back there and then start there and come down and finish up his pants and his running stitches. So just a little reminder, when I was done stitching the pants, I threaded my thread under some previous stitches to anchor it in place so I don't have to tie a knot. And now I'm starting up here, so I just threaded my needle, threaded my needle under some previous stitches. So again, I don't have to tie a knot. So I wanted to show you his face. Okay, so we're going to start with the nose. You can see it's a little bit darker there. So all I'm going to do is take a couple of satin stitches there just to make it a little meaty. Not meaty, but you know what I mean. There. And then I'm going to stem stitch around the outside of it. Now his eye is done with 2 stitches, and they're very small again. Got a little thing in my thread. Okay, so it's one stitch this direction, and then I'm going to take one stitch in this other direction, like that. So that is his eye. And then for his mouth, you can do a stem stitch, but it's really, really tight, just like in his tail. So instead, I'm going to choose to do a fly stitch. I didn't come up right in the right spot there. There we go. And then I'm going to come down kind of in the middle of his nose so it isn't showing. And tack it right on the other side of that loop. And there we go. That's his little nose. Now I can start at this end and just stem stitch up to his ear. And I know I said 16th. I think it's between an 1/8 and a 16th. And I know I said consistent, but I think I do take smaller stitches if I'm going around a really tight corner. Just to clarify, just so we're clear. Okay. So now I'll finish up his little face and then we'll move down to the flowers. So this little patch of floral here is just stem stitches for the lines. And then the little loops, again, those are lazy daisies. So we're going to start at the base, the point of the lazy daisy, and then put your needle back down in that same point. Pull your needle up at the top of the loop, thread your needle under, and then we're going to just tack it right down. Now, for this little flower, he has 2 lazy daisies, and they're starting at the same base. So they just go in different directions. And tack that one down. Now I'm going to come up on that dot, and you guessed it, we're going to make more French knots, not as many as March. Well, actually, they might be by the time you count them, add them up. We're going to wrap the needle 2 times. Put the needle down close to where you brought it up. Slip those wraps down to the fabric. Hold them with your thumb and your finger on the other side. And you want them to be snug, but not too tight, because you're going to have to pull the needle through. So we pull the needle through, and there we have our French knot. Okay, so I'm going to skip down to this leaf to show you. So to do that, I think it's probably a good idea to run my thread under some previous stitches. Okay, so now I'm going to come up. This is like the February leaf, the fan leaf, or I think it's also called the ray stitch. I call it the fan stitch. So you start at the very point, and then for the first one, I come down not all the way at the bottom, but just a little bit up, just because there's going to be so many stitches going in at that bottom. And I use my thumb to place that thread right down the center. Now I go all the way to the bottom and then come up on the other side of that initial stitch, right on the edge of the color of blue. And I just keep alternating sides. I use my thumb to put the stitches in place if they need help. And I'll do one more on this side. And that is a fan stitch or a ray stitch. I'll finish stitching this little guy up. our little hop-along bunny is done. And I did notice, you know how there's different colors in this Valdani? There's this lighter blue and the darker blue. It just happened that I used the darker blue for his eye. It looks kind of like he has eyeliner on. I don't know. If I'd planned that, I might have gone with a more medium blue. But that's okay. I still like him. And he was still fun to stitch up. I hope you had fun stitching him up too. So happy April, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I will see you next time. Bye.